Okay, for some of you, just getting started may be a little difficult, not sure where to take off and where to start. So I thought I'd, you know, take my morning and do a little intentional collaboration. First thing you would probably want to do, especially if you haven't started at all, is to go ahead and log into Canvas. See if we can enter your email or and your screen may look different than mine. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it does because the student version is different than the teacher's version. But I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to find assignments, and you'll have to find your assignments as well. And of course, we're working with the 123D CAD. If you look at this, just simply put, it says prove that you can use 123D design to produce three-dimensional drawings to scale. To master this, you must prove that you have the skills to make the following categories of 123D design and each element contained within each category. First one's primitives. Let's say I know nothing about this, so I'm going to jump out here and find a way that I can learn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on YouTube and type in primitives, and I'm going 123D design and tutorial. And I'm going to go ahead and, try this first. I'm going to put some quotes around my things that I find that I want to be predominant in my search. I want a tutorial and I want it to be about primitives. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I must have spelled something wrong, and I did. Sometimes I get in a hurry that way. Tutorial 2, primitives, YouTube. This looks like a pretty good one. Let's see if we can see who this is by. This is by Scarafin. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad one. I want to type in tutorial 2. And the reason I'm going to do that is because if you look over here, we get 1, and then we have 2, and then we have 3. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the first one. That way they'll end up being in order. And, I might point out, this is an older version of, here you go, hang on. This is an older version of 123D design, but it doesn't, really matter. The tools and things are all the same. So let's go ahead and make this a full screen. And let's go ahead and rewind it, hit play, see what happens.
Okay, so this is going to be our first tutorial on using 123D design. The first thing we need to do is learn how to move around within the work plane. So to start with, we just have an object, very simple box, set inside the work plane. And I'm going to show you how to use your 3-button mouse to maneuver and find your way around an object and figure out how to see what you need to see in order to create your object. So the first thing I want to show you is using the right mouse button. We can go ahead and we can orbit. So if you go ahead and press down the right mouse button, you'll see you get this little orbit function. And if you drag to the left, you can see it's going to spin it in one direction. Drag to the right, it will spin it in the opposite direction. If you push up, you're going to start looking at the bottom. You pull down, you start to look at the top. Okay, so now maybe I just wanted to go ahead and zoom in. On the scroll button, I can go ahead and I can scroll up and I can zoom in. And notice that it is zooming in to where the mouse is actually sitting. So if you see the pointer, if I put it on the side, I can zoom into the side. If I just wanted to look down at the very bottom edge and put the mouse at the edge, I can zoom into the edge, and so on. Now, say for example, this was not positioned exactly in the center of my screen, and I needed to be able to move up or down. That function is called panning. And so there are two ways we could do that. One is by pressing and holding the scroll button down. And so we can pull down or up move left or right to position it where we want it on the screen. Or we can come over here to the top on this navigation control.
Just a little fill-in on the newer versions. This right here will look different. It'll just look like a north, south, east, west type cross pointer. So let's keep moving.
By clicking, now you can use your left click button, your left button, and you can drag it up or down. Okay. Once you click again, it'll click right back off. Now, there's another function over here that you may want to use occasionally, and that is fit. So if your object is too large or too small, you go ahead and click fit. It'll center everything in the middle of your screen, and it'll pull it in to where it is filling your screen. Now, let's say, for example, you've just gotten moved around, you've gotten zoomed way far out, you can't quite find your object, disoriented, you're not sure how to get back. Up at the top, we have our view cube. So our view cube shows us our position relative to the top, right, left, bottom view of the object. Notice when I mouse over this view cube, the little house pops up. The house, of course, is your home button. So if you select home, it'll bring you back up to where you're seeing your top, your front, and your right side in an isometric view, and it'll fit it to the screen. So these are some of the basics in how to maneuver and how to move around your objects in 123D design. So,
okay, hopefully that recorded the sound while we were doing the video as well, so that you heard what he was talking and just didn't see a bunch of pictures. But at this point, what you should do, is you might want to leave that open in case you need to come back to it. But, minimize it, get it out of your way. Click on your 123D design app. Takes a little bit to load on some of these computers. There we go, and it will pop up with a start new project screen. To be honest with you, I normally just go ahead and click that off because by default it comes to a new project anyway. And I'll go up here and I'll look, and there you go. You got primitive, sketch, construct, modify, pattern. We'll go ahead and pull a box out here like he did. We'll click on that bad boy. And he talked about rotating the object. If you right mouse, you can take and spin. And, if you turn it, push across the screen, it turns left. Pull across the screen, it turns right. Push down, you see the top. Push up, you see the bottom. And then he also talked about scrolling the object, which I do not have a scroll function on mine, because I do not have a external mouse. The computers do. That's something you can work with. The fit pulls the object in to where you can see it, and the pan, lets you move the object around the screen. What you're doing with pan is you're basically moving the field and not the object. See, you're taking this and you're sliding it forward and back. You're panning on your plane, and you can come back and fit it back in place. And he also spoke of, maybe you get it way out of in the middle of nowhere. Maybe you've zoomed and you've got it way over here for some reason because you're working on something else. And then you can come up here, click on your home button, and sure enough, it brings everything back. But what you've done is you've taken a basic tutorial, learned a little bit about the functions of the primitives and how some of the tools work in 123D design. Quick little short video, and then guess what? If you know those and you've mastered those, which should be quite simple, you just kind of minimize this and you jump back out here and you said, that was pretty easy to work with. I think I'll go ahead and look at the second one in this guy's series. Notice it's scarf pin, scarf pin, scarf pin. So, we're going to go ahead
Okay, so
and
welcome
get
to
a
our second tutorial
few.
on Autodesk 123D Design. In this tutorial,
Let
we're
me
going
pause
to
this
start
real
looking at
quick.
some of the regular size.
And we're going to get a few from him or her. It's him, I assume, by the voice. But you're going to get a few different tutorials that will give you some of the benefits of 123D Design. You can also come in here and look and see if there's any tutorials anywhere in this thing. I've never really looked. Usually a question, let's see, share, shortcut, video tutorials. There you go. Let's click on one of these and see what we get. These are from Autodesk themselves. And let's see if we can find a way. I'm going to shut that music off.
Walker. I'm the creator of the Ground Drone project.
This is all about a family of apps.
My experience with
DeBorde.
My project was absolutely
Here's
amazing.
a lot of other things. Creating your first objects.
I was totally overwhelmed.
Design and support. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff out here. Edges, faces, and points. Grouping objects. Moving, shaping, creating your first objects. This looks like it's all with primitives. So, maybe that's a good way to think of this, is look for what you're trying to do within the video before you do it.
Choosing what object you would like to create in 3D space from either the primitives bin in the main toolbar or parts from any of the provided kits that can be found on the right-hand side of the screen by clicking the Kits button. Let's start by creating a primitive box from the primitives bucket on the...
Me, myself, not sure if the kits are there. Something I don't know. I haven't looked at because I had a lot of different background in different CAD programs before I started looking at that. But learning how to learn is just what it's all about. It's the more you do it, the more easy it'll become for you. And then, once you get used to doing this, you'll be able to learn anything. So take your time, work through it. Rome was not built in a day, so don't try to get this all done in a day, but do spend enough time so that you can get through your entire list, your sketch tools, your construct, your modify. And if you look up here, the way those were placed is like, here's primitive, sketch tool, construct, modify. They were all put in order. So, just basically work your way through this list, finding tutorials that will benefit you on doing each one of these, know what they do and how they function, and then you should be good to go before Friday. Hope you have fun with it. Really great program. And, just talk to me, email me, ask questions when you get stuck, but get stuck first. Don't just say, oh, hey, what do I do today? No, get out there. You already know what the expectation is. Start doing it. And when you've tried it 3 or 4 times, you've backed up, you re-looked at the information and it didn't work, then ask me, and I'll be glad to help you. Have a great day, guys.